Hello, this is Bill Zoller with the Wellness Warriors Ministry, and today we're going to be talking about fish and fish oil, an important topic that has significant implications for our physical health. The material I'm going to talk about today comes from many sources, including Drs. John McDougall, Dr. Michael Greger, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, Dr. Joel Fuhrman, and also from the Physicians Committee on Responsible Medicine. So why are we talking about fish and fish oil today? Well, there has been considerable important controversy about the benefits of fish and fish oil. It is true that many healthcare providers recommend the consumption of fish and or fish oil. Also, we're going to talk about this because there are mixed research results about this topic. So the principal reason that healthcare providers recommend fish is because of some healthy fatty acids called omega-3 essential fatty acids. There are several types. The types we will allude to today are EPA and DHA. So these omega-3 fats help fight inflammation, they help counter heart disease, and they help to promote general health. It is true that some of the longest lived people groups in the world consume some fish. But all of these groups are also basically vegetarians and eat mainly plant foods. There is a 2015 study of 40 older people who have the APOE4 gene that increases the likelihood of late onset Alzheimer's disease. Those research participants who ate the most fish had a better ability to switch between mental tasks, which is what we call an executive brain function. So they had better cognitive flexibility, and they had a larger anterior cingulate cortex in their brain, and it was a result of the consumption of this DHA and EPA. So there is a 2013 study that looked at older adults who have high levels of omega-3 fatty acids, and they were found to have as much as 27% decreased mortality risk from heart disease. And and that study was done by the Harvard School of Public Health. So, DHA in this study I just mentioned was most strongly related to a lower risk of coronary heart disease, but specifically the cardiac arrhythmias, the electrical disturbances in the heart, people having as much as 45% lower risk of this with optimal levels of omega-3 fatty acids in their bodies. There was another trial about atrial fibrillation of 337 patients who were not receiving conventional treatment for the arrhythmia, but were randomly assigned to 4 grams of fish oil a day or to a placebo. And what happened is the people taking fish oil had a 64.1% recurrence of atrial fibrillation. And so that's concerning and kind of a contradictory finding from the prior research. I wanted to mention, this is an important point to make today, that fish is not a primary source of omega-3 fatty acids. Fish get these plant compounds, or they get these oil compounds from plants that they eat in the ocean or in the water. There are some very good plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids, including ground flaxseed, chia seed, canola oil, and if you consume canola oil, please only consume organic and non-GMO canola oil. Also, in plants, we find omega-3s in yeast or algae-based laboratory harvested omega-3s. It's found in beans, English walnuts, and in green vegetables. Here are some problem issues with fish and fish oil. To talk about fish oil for a minute. It's high in saturated fat, it's high in cholesterol, it tends to be high in mercury and PCBs, and the banned pesticides called DDT and DDE. So in that sense, tends to be a dangerous option for getting our omega-3s. Mercury in fish can cause various neurological problems, such as making Alzheimer's disease worse, causing memory loss, autism, as well as depression. Let's talk a minute about farm-raised fish, very important topic. Farm-raised fish tends to be the greatest source of dietary pollutants, averaging nearly 10 times the PCB load of wild-caught fish, and I think this study was done on salmon. The fact is that the majority of fish found in supermarkets and in restaurants is farm-raised. Also, in farm-raised fish, specifically salmon and sardines, we find a lot of HCBs, hexachlorobenzene, which is a fungicide and a pesticide. A word about farm-raised catfish containing dioxins. In 96% of the samples of catfish that were tested found dioxins. These are highly toxic substances that can cause reproductive problems, developmental problems, damage to the immune system, and they can interfere with hormones, and possibly there is a strong cancer link. Tilapia. Many of you have heard of the fish called tilapia, very common in restaurants. There is nothing in the diet of the tilapia that is healthy. They're fed on soy pellets and genetically modified corn, producing a fish that contains virtually no healthy oils like omega-3s. Something very, very concerning. Recent research study indicates that a salmon is being genetically engineered in a laboratory by combining genes from Pacific salmon and an eel-like ocean fish called the eel pout, and inserting them into the genome of an Atlantic salmon. Also, there's no labeling requirement about genetically modified foods there, and so it could be marketed alongside fresh-caught natural fish. Fish toxins, this mercury, the DDT, the dioxins, and so on, can affect our testosterone levels. Some of the chemicals that we find in fish might take 50 to 75 years to clear from the bodies, from our body. Also, some seafood may contain radioactivity that bioaccumulates up the food chain. In an NIH, National Institutes of Health study, omega-3s in supplement form, they say, has not been shown to protect against heart disease. Fish oils end up being a $1.2 billion industry, so we always need to look at potential bias in the marketing of fish oil. And here's a very important point today. Researchers, when they looked at 13 over-the-counter children's dietary supplements that contained fish oil, every one of them contained PCBs or other pollutants. Very important and very concerning. Be careful of fast food and fish. McDonald's has a fish, it's called a Filet-O-Fish with Old Bay seasoning sandwich. Burger King has a big fish sandwich. Wendy's has one. Also, Popeyes has a fish, I believe it's a sandwich, not sure of that. And so the odds are that those are farm-raised products. So here's our recommendations. Our recommendations are that that we avoid fish oil, that we avoid all farm-raised fish, and that if you choose to eat fish in a restaurant or at home or buy it in the market, be sure it's wild-caught fish. If you need an omega-3 supplement, use a yeast or algae-derived, laboratory-harvested omega-3 supplement. Here's one that I take. It's made by Diva. It contains both DHA and EPA, and there's probably 8 or 9 of these on the market now. Also, we recommend that you eat walnuts, flaxseed, chia seed, beans, green vegetables as good healthy sources of omega-3s. Also, in terms of our recommendations and comments, is that it would seem that healthcare providers, physicians, nurse practitioners, and so on, also dietitians, be cautious about advocating that people should increase their intake of omega-3s through fish or fish oil because of all these contaminants. And part of the context here in which we're talking is a country with rampant cancer, and there may be a link there. Also, we make these recommendations because these research results about fish and fish oil are really mixed. Some are positive results, some are not. And so that leaves us sort of up in the air with some very difficult decisions to make. We're pleased to bring you today this information about fish and fish oil. We would very much appreciate it if you would stay in contact with Wellness Warriors. Our website is mywellnesswarriors.com. You can friend us on Facebook. The name is William Zoller. Our email address is wazoller, Z-A-H-L-E-R, @gmail.com. Thank you for being with us today.